All right, so it's fight week, and we got a doozy coming up on the weekend when former undisputed junior lightweight champion, current WBO welterweight champion Terrence Bud Crawford takes on the former IBF welterweight world champion, six-time challenger, Showtime Shawn Porter. In this video, I'm gonna give y'all 3 keys for each fighter that I think they should do to be able to win this fight. So, without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? KT here, back at it with another video. Today, we're talking boxing. Exciting fight going on the weekend. Terrence Crawford finally gets that big fight against one of the top premier welterweight fighters in the division, against Showtime Shawn Porter, looking to rebound from his last win, I would say. Before we get started, I have 2 active giveaways going on. One for a free PlayStation Network card and one for a free $50 Amazon gift card. If you look at the top right of your screen right about now, you see a little eye pop up. Click that eye, go to those 2 videos. The rules, very simple. Click those 2 videos, comment on those videos, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I will pick a random winner at the end of the month, so be looking out for that. First, let's start with the underdog, the challenger, Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter is one of my favorite fighters. He got a dog mentality. It's just crazy how he comes in every fight. He never really has a fight that you just, you can say he lost convincingly. But with that being said, Terrence Bud Crawford is a whole nother animal. So what I think Shawn needs to do, Shawn needs to rough Terrence Crawford up. Now, Shawn has that bulldog style. He comes forward, he roughs you up. He gets a couple punches in every now and then, but really what he's gonna do is you should try to make Terrence Crawford uncomfortable. He's never been in with a guy like Shawn Porter before. Not to take away from Crawford or anything, but Shawn Porter is an animal. So what Shawn needs to do, he needs to, I would say, don't let Crawford outbox you. Don't let him stick on the outside, because that's probably going to be his game plan. He's probably going to use his jab to keep him up off him. Shawn needs to counteract that by using that little head movement he always does. His footwork is good too. He needs to get Crawford on the rope so he can start going to town with combos. The second thing Shawn needs to do, and this ties into the first thing, is when you get Crawford on the ropes, don't let him off of it, and throw some body shots. Shawn, being the smaller guy, having a little reach, he's gonna have to get inside to be effective. We know that. But once he gets inside, just like the fight with Errol Spence, he can do some real damage. He's not a big puncher. He only has like a 42% knockout rate, but his punches are heavy, and he'll beat you down. And that's what he needs to do. When Crawford is on the ropes, do not let him off. Don't let him escape. You have to pound that body. Try to slow him down, because if you don't, Crawford's going to, as we know, Crawford is a notorious slow starter. So as the fight progresses though, he gets more aggressive, and he's well conditioned enough to carry power with him late into fights. That's how he's won most of his fights. So for Shawn to counteract that, you need to get Terrence Crawford in the corner or on the ropes and throw combos to the body, which I think Shawn will do. He's an experienced fighter, smart fighter. I think he knows what it takes to win. Shawn, his third point is just to stay disciplined. During the fight with Errol Spence, in one of the best fights I've ever seen, there was one moment, I don't remember what round specifically, but Shawn got a little bit undisciplined, and Errol Spence caught him with a perfect left counter, left hook, and it took Porter down to the mat. It grazed him, it stunned him a little bit, but he wasn't really hurt. But that moment right there in that Errol Spence fight kind of sealed that fight for Spence. I had it a draw. I had it maybe Spence by like a little bit, but most people probably had it a draw. Had that knockdown not happened, we could have been looking at a draw. So what Shawn needs to do, he doesn't need to get undisciplined like he did against Errol Spence, especially in the later rounds, because that's what ultimately cost him that fight. And this is Crawford we're talking about. Errol Spence is, as much as I love Errol Spence, he is not a one-punch power type of guy. He breaks you down systematically. Terrence Crawford is a one-punch power guy, and if he catches you, you might not get back up. So staying disciplined and not getting hit with silly counters is paramount for Shawn Porter in this fight. I know he's going to want to be a dog, but staying disciplined and staying on your game, especially in the later rounds where Crawford is proven to be a A-lister and knocking people out, is paramount. Terrence Crawford, on the other hand, has some keys he needs to do to be able to win this fight. The first key is to counteract what Shawn's going to be doing by walking forward. Terrence needs to use that jab. Now, Terrence Crawford is a good fighter, either orthodox or southpaw. However, I tend to think that he's much better in southpaw. He uses his jab perfectly, and if he uses that jab against Shawn Porter, you're going to have to keep him away somehow. Using a jab is perfect, especially for fighters like Shawn who wants to put their head down, walk you down, and force you into a corner. I think Terrence Crawford has a pretty good jab. I would say when you're using it, don't duck down, don't try to overcommit with it, but just stick it out there a couple times. Change the rhythm and timing of it. Keep Shawn up off feet. Another thing for Terrence, there's really no question about his ability. But he's never been in with a guy like Shawn Porter before. So I say the second key is not more of a key, it's just more like a thing we're going to be watching. How does he perform, and how are we going to compare him to Errol Spence? He has to perform well enough to be compared to Errol Spence. I hate saying that, he's his own fighter, but this is ultimately what people are going to be talking about after this fight is ended. How did he do against Shawn Porter? You got to look good. Second point is you have to win and you have to look convincing. And that's hard because Shawn Porter has never been in a fight where he just looks outclassed. Maybe once against Kell Brook, but even that fight was kind of close. He showed his worth. But for Terrence, he needs to use his natural ability. Overall, I think he's the more skilled fighter. But mentally, you have to stay strong mentally as well. You have to look good. Don't overcommit, but you have to be, I guess, somewhat aggressive against Porter. If he knows he can just back you down into a corner, then he's going to keep doing it. But you need to let Porter know that, hey, I'm the guy. I'm the A guy. I'm the A side. I'm the pound for pound number one fighter in terms of most people. Terrence, to me, I don't think he's going to knock Porter out, but he has to at least knock him down a couple times to be compared to guys like Errol. Now, the third point for Terrence Crawford. There's really not many points I'm coming up in my head about Terrence Crawford because he's just an overall good fighter. But mainly for me, I say the one flaw is that he needs to stay disciplined with his defense. Now, as we know, Terrence Crawford has never really been knocked down or just wildly ever. I don't think in his career he's ever been officially knocked down, but he's had moments. Against the Mean Machine, I don't know how you say his name, Jujas Kavalauskas. I probably butchered that name. But in that fight, the Mean Machine had a similar style to Shawn Porter. Come forward, throw punches, and he had power to him. And we saw during that fight that he actually stunned Crawford, and arguably some people said he knocked him down. Against Gamboa a couple years ago, Gamboa caught him with a lucky counter, and he stunned him a little bit. There's been times where Crawford lulls to sleep on defense. Porter doesn't have the same power as those guys, obviously, but if he catches you, it can mean trouble. Any boxer that catches somebody off guard, it can mean trouble. So staying composed on defense, especially going into later rounds, because you know Shawn ain't never going back down. Going into later rounds, Terrence needs to stay focused, especially on defense. Now, ultimately, my prediction for this fight, I'm going to go, this is tough. I'm going to go Bud, but by split decision. Shawn Porter is one of my favorite fighters. period, in the welterweight division. Terrence Crawford, very good fighter. He's another one of my favorite fighters. He's fun to watch. But people who see Crawford dominating this fight are either, you're deluding yourself if you think Terrence Crawford is going just to walk through Shawn Porter. And who knows what will happen. But I think Terrence will win by split decision. I've never seen a fight where Shawn has just been completely outmatched to where they just give somebody else a unanimous decision. And if they have, it's been questionable. I don't think Terrence will knock him out. When has he ever been knocked out? He has a great chin. But Shawn, he knows, and I know he knows that he's going to have to come in with discipline, much more discipline than he did against Errol, because Terrence Crawford has that light tower power that will get you up out of there. So ultimately, I think Terrence will win by split decision. I don't think there will be any knockout. There might be one knockdown if I had to say. I think, Crawford will catch Porter with one and stun him, but that will be all. And I think Shawn will come in the fight and he'll make it interesting. This is the fight we've asked for a while, and we're finally getting it. This is the fight Bud has asked for in a while, and if he looks good against Shawn Porter, that sets up potential fights with one of my favorite fighters, Errol Spence Jr., for a unification showdown. So, yeah, Terrence Crawford by decision. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you'll get notified every time I drop a new video. Make sure you enter your name in the giveaway. Remember, 2 active giveaways, one for a free PSN card, one for a free Amazon gift card. Top right of the video, there should be an eye. Click those videos, comment on them, like on them, and subscribe on them. Follow me on social media, and share this video. It's fight week. Get your friends involved. Call your friends over to watch this fight because it's going to be a good one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm out. Peace.